really don't know what Christmas is all about.
If you're already subscribed, welcome back, my little darlings. And if you have not yet subscribed, did you subscribe? Subscribe, come on, dang. The secret emoji for the Christmas giveaway is on the screen now. Comment it down below to enter the giveaway, and to see the details about the giveaway, you can read the description box, or you can click right here on this link, or over here on this link, over here on the link, to find out more details. So today's video, as soon as I uploaded the last video, there's becoming more and more of you heifers. You guys were like, hey, we need to know more about this. And I always plan, like I said, I have a whole notepad where I have literally written down like all kinds of things that's happened in my life, different things that I wanted to tell. My first marriage was definitely one that I wanted to talk about. I don't talk about it a lot. A lot of people don't know all of the fine print that happened in this marriage because I wanted to forget it. As soon as it happened, I wanted it to be over with and I wanted to forget it. It was one of those things. Where we left off was me being introduced to his mom. Now, his dad is a whole different story. I do need to go ahead and mention now that the mom and dad were divorced. And because of this, the grandparents, they loved the mom still, but they weren't happy about that. Like, that was not something that they were cool with. So following that whole fiasco, if you want to know more about that, I'll have a card right here so you can go and watch the first video for this to all make sense. Following that, I would say about 2 to 3 weeks before Christmas, he comes to me, so literally right after that Thanksgiving, he comes to me and says, hey, my grandparents want you to come to church. Now, I had already heard from him. He had already told me all kinds of horror stories about the church and like his religion and different beliefs. And he told me straight up, like, this is not how I feel at all. But to respect my grandparents and to not have to deal with the chaos that I will have to deal with, I just go and I do what they say. This would be a factor in our relationship for the rest of it. Like, this would factor in completely. So we head to church. Now, I was extremely, extremely nervous because of all of the things he had told me. Like, you guys, number one, when he picks me up that morning, he has me take my entire face of makeup off because he said it was too much. He said, I like it, but it's going to be too much. I just don't want to hear my grandparents' mouth. So I run back inside. I take my makeup off. I remember specifically my dad catching me in the bathroom and saying, like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, I'm taking my makeup off. Like, just something, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like to just, so that he wouldn't like be pissed, because my dad would have been pissed if I would have said, oh, well, his grandparents are going to be pissed if I wear this makeup. Like, my dad would have said something. Like, he probably wouldn't have even let me go. So I go back out to the car and we head to the church. Now, it was not a large church by any means. Probably one of the smaller churches I had ever been to. Very small. Out in the parking lot, there weren't like a bunch of people standing either, which was weird for me because the churches that I grew up in, like, people would be outside talking, shooting shit type thing. It wasn't like that. So we go on into the church and you can hear singing like as you approach the doors. We go inside. As we walk through the doors to like enter in like whatever you call it, where everybody's at and where the church service is, everybody literally like looks right at us. And this like just makes me like even more just want to like hide, like pull the covers over myself, like just super uncomfortable, super not into it. We sit down and we would always hold hands. I mean, people at church, the church that I went to most of the time growing up, couples held hands all the time, even people who weren't married. So I go to grab his hand and he slings my hand off of his like it was on fire. Like he was not, I was like, okay. So that was like my first thing. Then as I'm like kind of panning over the room, you know, really just trying to stay awake, I'm just kind of like panning over the room, looking around. Everybody, all the women are kind of dressed the same. They're all in like super long dresses, like might as well been wearing a turtleneck, hair down past their ass, like, and like it would be husband, wife, and a bunch of kids. Like that's what it was. Also, I wanted to mention that I wasn't dressed that way at all. It was not like dressed like a whore, but I wasn't dressed as modestly. I just wanted to mention that. It's important. And the grandparents were, I mean, it was very, very different than what I had ever seen. And as I listen to the preacher preach more and more, just so happens the first sermon that I hear this man preach is on basically submitting to your husband. Now, what brought all of this back into mind for me was having a subscriber of mine, because I've talked about my first marriage before. And so a lot of times subscribers will send me different YouTubers and their beliefs, and somebody sent me the page, The Transformed Wife. It was literally that, you guys. Like, you are to submit to your husband. Like, basically, if you want to buy a pair of shoes, you go to your husband and he makes that call. If you aren't in the mood to have sex and your husband is too damn bad, you're having sex, like, just out there. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what in the hell is this? So we leave church and I am frightened. I am like scared to my wit's end. As soon as we get in his car, he's like,
I do not think this way. I just want to make that clear. But in front of my mom and my grandparents, like, it would be really nice if you would like pretend.
I'm like,
so you're telling me that you want me to pretend to be like a submissive, like catering after you bitch, and then the rest of the time I'm what? Just myself?
like, and that is what it would become. That is literally what our relationship would become. So after church, we go over to his grandmother's to have dinner. Like I told you guys in the Thanksgiving story, I had been planning to get my hair cut. Well, after this whole conversation, me and him talking about it and him begging me not to, I didn't get my hair cut. And guys, this, like I told you guys also, this is very stupid. Do not do this, please. But I literally got in this relationship to make my first boyfriend jealous. Like, I loved him. And so when I got with, what do we call him? We'll call him Zach, I guess. When I got with Zach, like, it was a distraction for me. Like, it wasn't that serious. So I didn't cut my hair, but I did dye blonde, and my hair had been blonde. He was freaking out about it all through church. After he picked me up, everything, I was like, well, what do you want? You want to go buy a wig? Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, what the hell? And this just would make me miss my ex even more. Like, things like this would just, I would be thinking about him constantly, because I wasn't used to this. I was used to somebody who loved me the way that I was. And now I'm with somebody who says they love me the way I am, but also wants me to change all the time. You know what I'm saying? So we get to his grandmother's, and as soon as we walk through the damn door, you guys, I shit you not, his mother looks at me in the eyes and says, I thought we discussed that you weren't gonna do anything to your hair. I'm like, I remember us talking about getting my hair cut, but I don't remember us talking about dyeing my hair. So that's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is Stacy, Zach's sister, she walks up to me and she says,
oh, I like your hair, but you might want to dye it black because you really upset the grandmother. Oh, I like your hair, but you might want to dye it black because you really upset the grandmother.
So the whole dinner was shit, okay? The whole dinner was shit. We're going to go ahead and fast forward, because I did everything I could for the next like week or two to not see his grandparents or mother or anybody. Like, He would ask me to go to church. I would make an excuse. He would ask me to go to church again, and I would have my friend Jen like answer the phone and say, she's on the crapper. Like, I would do everything in my power, like just avoiding it at all cost. Christmas comes around. So we'll say probably about 3 or 4 days before Christmas, I'm out shopping with my nanny. And I call him and I'm like, hey, what would be a good gift to get your mom and grandmother? He's like, oh, I don't know, but like make sure that it's like, you know, nothing too crazy. And so I was getting my mom perfume. That's what I always get my mom for Christmas, is her favorite perfume. So I thought, well, I'll get their perfume. So I call him back and I'm like, hey, I'm in Belk. Would perfume be cool? And he's like, absolutely not. Do not get perfume. I'm like, what? He's like, no, they don't wear perfume. I'm like, Jesus, this is going to be the hardest 2 gifts I've ever bought in my damn life. And it was. So I'm like stressing out in the middle of Turkey Creek in Knoxville, Tennessee, if you know where that's at. And my nanny's like, what is wrong? Like, what is going on? I'm like telling her all this stuff. And she's like, oh my Lord. She's like, well, there's a Christian bookstore like right down at the end here. Let's go there and see if you can find something. I'm like, surely whatever I get in there, it'll be good. Right? Fucking wrong, bitch. Wrong. So we go inside this Christian bookstore and I'm looking around trying to figure out, you know, what to get. And my nanny walks up to me with these 2 Bible cases and they're gorgeous. They're like faux leather Bible cases, but somebody who like brings merchandise there, like actually presses the faux leather and makes prints out of it. And one was like a really pretty fuchsia and one was a really pretty turquoise. My mom actually has one just like it now. Beautiful. So I thought, this is perfect. And the lady there said, you know, we can get their names put on it. And I'm like, perfect. So I get it, whatever. She's like, we'll have it to you. You can actually come pick it up in 3 days or we can mail it to you in 3 days. I was like, I'll be here, sis. So fast forward, Christmas is here. I'm going to his family's. I've got the presents already wrapped and Zach doesn't ask me what I got. He doesn't even bother to ask. I don't bother to tell. We get to his grandparents' house and everybody's opening up their gifts. Y'all, do you all want to know what they all pitched in and got me? I literally spent $65 per Bible case just for them 2, not counting the grandfather and the sister. Which it's not about gifts. I know that. I'm just stating here as a fact of something that happened. Because I know there'll be a Karen in here somewhere. Yeah. Oh, yeah. For me, they literally got me like this Bible book that's like how to be the perfect wife, basically. Probably like $20. And they open these Bible cases and I will never, ever, ever, till the day I die, forget the look on each of their faces. You would have thought that I would have given them like dildos. You would have thought that I would have given them like a vibrator, which shit, give me a vibrator, you know? But they weren't into that type of shit. You would have thought that I gave them the devil in a box, like for real. I just remember them like looking at one another, looking at Zach, and Zach looking at me, and I'm like, what? What did they put in the damn box, you know? And I'm like, is everything okay? And I remember the grandmother looking at me and saying,
we don't use Bible cases.
And I was like,
Oh, okay, you know, I just, you know, whatever.
She's like,
we hold our Bibles in our hands.
I was like,
Oh, okay, well, you know, when you come home, you can maybe like put it in the case, you know, until you go to church again.
She's like,
we never cover up our Bibles.
I was like, well, then you can have it here for looks. Carry it as a purse. I don't know what to tell you because I got it engraved with your damn names. So now y'all, I felt this big. I mean, and it would just continue on and on and on and on that way. And unfortunately, because, hello, my name's Morgan, and I make so many mistakes, they literally could make damn a 13-season reality show out of my life. I don't even know how I'm ever going to get through all the stories that I have for you guys. It gets worse. So let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit more to March March of 2008. March of 2008, Zach asks me to marry him. And I say yes like an idiot. Okay? From this point forward, we've probably got another 4, maybe 5 story times. I don't know how I'm going to chop it up. But you guys hold on, buckle up, bring your drinks. If you're old enough, bring those adult drinks because you're going to need them for the stories that I have to come because it's about to get messy, okay? I married this man straight out of high school like an idiot. I was still madly in love with my first boyfriend. Should have never done it. It was a huge, huge mistake. I know that now and I've learned from it. I also had a comment come through. It's on the screen right now. Someone who's a subscriber of mine, going through the same thing that I was going through. And any advice that I have to give you is if you're not happy, get out of it. I know that it may seem impossible and it may seem hard. If it's going to hurt you in any way or anything like that, obviously do what you got to do. But if it's an option for you to leave, leave. Because unfortunately, you can't change somebody. And if you were like me and you didn't really love the person to begin with, those feelings more than likely are not going to change. But yeah, there is the second story in this however many parts that I have coming of the religious family I married into. I don't even know how I'm going to title this video either. You'll know before me. Also, shout out to the Etsy shop on the screen right now. They made this shirt that says there's some hoes in this house. I think it's hilarious as hell. So yeah, you guys, there's the story. Be sure that you do subscribe before you leave and become a part of the family. Also, be sure that you are following me on social media. It is all linked down below. And since this is the last video before Thanksgiving, I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Practice your social distancing as much as you can. Be very, very safe on Black Friday. Please, if you venture out, I did all of my shopping and got it all done but 5 gifts today, guys. Amazon Prime, baby. Amazon Prime. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for all the support, all the love, all the subscribers that's been coming in here recently. I'm so excited for what our 2021 has to offer. I'm so excited for where all this is going to go. I just love you guys so much and I'm so grateful. And until next time, bye.